When you want to create some new content for your website in the form of a blog post or an article or some kind of news story, you can do so by going to plus new post from the top bar on the page, or you can go to posts, add new. You can also just click on add new with this little plus sign new. Either way, it takes you to the same place. Now, the editor that you see will depend on what you have enabled on your website. By default, you should see something like this. And it gives you a space to add a title, and you can put in your content here. You also have some controls on the side. If Beaver Builder is enabled for posts, you should see Beaver Builder in the content section of your post editor. So you'll see add title, and you'll see this block saying Beaver Builder, launch Beaver Builder editor, and you also have the option to use a standard editor. So if you want to use Beaver Builder, you have that option. You just click that button to launch that. Or if you prefer to just use a standard editor, you'll be able to just click that and it will go to the standard editor, just like before. The menu on the side is the same, just as before. There's no changes with that. It's just this main component here. The editor works in a similar way to any kind of word processor, where you can add a title, you can add content, and you can kind of format that content. The default editor is kind of limited in the ways that you can modify and display that content, but it's pretty simple to use and has a lot of the core features that you're going to want to do in any kind of blog post. The menu options on the side are things that will enable you to control like the categories that content is associated with, which just organizes that content. So if someone is looking for something on a particular topic, they'll be able to find it there. So for this website, I have franchise reviews and top franchise questions and those kinds of, you can add other categories, and whatever category suits your topic and website best. You can also add tags. So if you wanted to say, add something that it's related to whatever keywords or topics, then you just type it in and you type a comma and it will automatically create a tag for that word or phrase. You can also set a featured image. The featured image does not automatically display on the blog post itself, but will display with a preview of it. So in a list of blog posts on your website, that image would display there, and then when they click it, then they'll see the content that you put here in the content of your post. The excerpt you can also set. It's optional. It will by default just pull the first paragraph or two from your content, or whatever kind of content you have on there. And discussion is really, it has to do with comments. You can enable or disable the comments. I typically recommend disabling the comments unless you really want feedback on the content on your website. A lot of spammers will abuse the comment section and try and link to websites that are just spammy or porn or other inappropriate things. So I don't really recommend allowing comments unless you feel like you really need it. And those are the basic overview of the controls for the default post editor for WordPress. Now I'm going to show you how to create a post using the standard editor. So first, start by adding in a title. Okay. Now we're going to click on this to use a standard editor. If you don't have Beaver Builder enabled for posts, you won't see this. It'll just go to this by default. Now you can put in your content. I'm going to use some gibberish. Now, as you can see that I have the content here activated, you can see the options on the right changed. You can always get back to the standard options by clicking on this, which is the post tab, and you can see it's still there, but you can edit the options for the block by selecting it, first having it activated or selected here, and then it will show up here. If you want to add a drop cap, you can do so by selecting it and just do drop cap. You can change the size of the text, also from the options on the right. You can also make it bold, italic, you can add links. There are also other options here, like strike through, subscript, superscript, different things like that. Now, you can add different things called blocks in here. These are called paragraph blocks. As you can see, it says, if you hover over it, it says paragraph. You can also add section titles. So if I wanted to add some kind of title, say I wanted to make this a title. So I can just hit enter and to separate it. And then I can click on this and go to heading. And then I can change the size. So I can make it a small heading, or I can make it bigger. H1 is usually reserved for the actual website title, and so it's recommended to use H2 or one of these other ones below it. Now, if I wanted to change the color of something, I can do so from the right. So I can change the color of this heading to something else. So let's say I wanted to make it gray. It has some default colors there. I can also change that shade of the gray to something else. If I click on it, you can see the little color bar here, and I can adjust it however I want. So if I wanted to make it purple or something like that, I can do so easily from there. I can make stuff bold. I can also italicize like I was saying before. So there's some bold text. I can change italics and just different things like that. So you can just play around with it. So you can change the size of the text also. So if I wanted this block to be smaller, see, I can click on this and I can set a size. So let's say 10. So you can make it really small, or I can make it really big too. So I can say 30. It just really, you can do a lot of things with this standard editor, but it's not as powerful as the Beaver Builder editor, as you will see. Now, once I've got the content the way I want, then I can edit the post settings on the side. But before I do that, let's go ahead and add an image, just as an example so you can see that too. Because there's a lot of different blocks that you can add. Alright, so let's try adding an image, and I'll use something that I already have. Otherwise, you can upload and select a file from your computer. If you go to Media Library, it will show you all the files that you have currently uploaded to your website already. So as you can see, I put this giant image. I can actually change this image. If I go to block here, you can see I can make it rounded, or I can leave it like that. I can go and change the size so it has full size. We can do thumbnail, or we can do medium, or we can set a custom size. We can also align the image too. So we can click on this alignment here in the toolbar, and we can say, okay, let's align it right. And you can see the content went to the left of it automatically. We can also add a caption for that image, and we can also make the image a link too. So if we wanted to insert a link, we can just click on this, and we can, make it either go to that image file, or an automatically generated attachment page for that, or we can set a URL, so like google.com. We can also make it open a new tab if we click on this. Oops, it's showing a... There we go, okay. We can select open a new tab, and we also have some other advanced settings, but we won't go into those right now. Okay, so let's just go ahead and save this as a draft. and we'll preview it. Is it going to let me do it? Preview a new tab. Here we go. And we can kind of see what it looks like without making it go live on the website right now. So you can see there's the page title, we've got a date on it, and here's our drop cap. We can see the text that was made bold and italicized. There's the image. If you click it, it goes Google. You can see the text that made smaller and the heading, all those types of things. You can also see the categories that appear here in the sidebar are the same categories that appear here. So what we're going to do now is we can add some tags. We can set a category. So see, currently it defaulted to uncategorized. So if we don't have a category that fits this content, we can add a new one. So let's say example, and then we click new. Okay, uncheck uncategorized, and it will automatically add it, but it's just not showing it. Now you can add in tags. Tags are like keywords that are associated to the content. So this is an example, so we're just going to use example. And if you type a comma, I should say, type a comma after the word or phrase, it will add that. So some example, comma, and it will add it. If you click away, it will show it. Alright, you can also set a featured image. If you click featured image, let's just use that same one, and that will be the preview image for that blog post that shows up in, when you share it on social media, for example. That's the image it's going to use, is whatever is set as the featured image. Alright, you can also allow comments or disable them. Here we're just going to leave it disabled, and we don't really need an excerpt from it. Alright, I'm going to say that it's ready to go. So let's just go ahead and publish it. I'll end up having to remove it because this is going to make it live. Now if you click this link right here that says view post, this is going to show you what it actually shows on the website for this. On this website, the categories are not automatically updated on here. That's just how this is controlled by a separate menu. So this is not using the default one. So that's why it didn't automatically populate there. That's a good thing for this because I don't want it to show. But if you go to blog on the website, as you can see, there's the image there, example post title, and it pulled part of the first paragraph there. And as you can see, there's the other blog posts on the website. But that's how you build it using the standard editor. Alright, when you go to edit or create content on your website and you want to use the Beaver Builder editor, I'm going to show you how to use it, at least give you some basic ideas of how it works so that you can kind of make the changes that you want. Now, for this example, I'm just going to go ahead and create a new page, but this works for posts or pages, and this also works for existing content or adding new content. To add a new page, you can just go to Pages, Add New, or you can also do it from the top, which is just plus new page, and that will enable you to create a new page. Okay, so this is just an example, so I'm just putting in some stuff to give you an example to work with. You can set a featured image for a page or a post, and it just helps with what displays on the website. So I'm just going to use this pizza for example, and then I'm going to launch the Beaver Builder editor, and I do so by clicking this button. You can also get to there from the page directly by clicking on Beaver Builder. It will show up in the top, which I'll show you in a bit. So you click on that, and it's going to launch the Beaver Builder editor. And this is pretty much what you're going to see. you're going to have the Beaver Builder menu open over here with all the different modules that they have. And you're going to see these tabs, and you're going to see this block here. It may be overwhelming at first, but I'm going to try and focus on just the things that you're mostly going to use. So the things I want to direct your attention to are heading, the text editor, photo, and the buttons. You may also want to use a list from time to time. You may also have HTML code that you need to insert from somewhere if you're trying to embed something onto your website, like a widget or something. You may also want to embed a YouTube video, so that may be also something that you want to use. Some of these other options are really cool too, but I'm not going to really get into those in this video. Alright, for this example, we're going to go ahead and create a heading and some text content and add an image. So first we're going to start with the heading. So I just drag and drop it. Okay, so I'm just putting the same kind of title up there. And as you can see, this is the editor window, and it's allowing me to type it, and it's showing up there automatically. And so I can actually see what it would look like on the website as I'm building it. Now you can see in this window there's 3 tabs: General, Style, and Advanced. Each of the modules has these tabs here which have different options depending on what that thing is. So for heading, it has some basic settings, so you can set what size it is. I have it currently set to H2. I can make this a link. I can make it open in a new tab. I can, link it to existing content on the website, or I can link it to an outside website. I can also change the styles. So if I want to change the color, I can do so. So see, now it's purple, or I can make it blue or green or red or whatever color I want. If I select something and I don't want it, I can click this X and see, now it's back to the default. I can also change the font. So if I want to use a different font for it, I have all these different options here. These are all options that are included with the Beaver Builder plugin. So as you can see, I can also change, whether it's bold or thin or light or whatever. It's going to pull in whatever is available for that font. I can change the spacing. I can also add a shadow to it. So if I want it to have some shading, let's add something, I guess, kind of ridiculous. So we'll just change this. So now it has a green glow that's offset. I can also remove it. And whenever I'm done making the changes that I want, I can click this Save button, and it will save it. Now, if I want to add some page content, a content block, I can do this like this, drag and drop it, and I can edit the content under the General tab. And see, I paste in my gibberish here. I can also create, if I wanted to say have 2 columns here, I can also do that pretty easily too. But first, before we do that, I'm going to go ahead and add an image. So I drag photo onto the page, and see, I can select the photo source. I can go select photo. I can either select something I want that I've already used before, or I can upload a new file. If I click upload, I would select the file or drag and drop it. So let's just use something that I already have. So we'll use this. Okay, now, while it's similar to the standard editor, this Beaver Builder has a lot more options. So I can actually change it, so like panorama, for example. And it just crops the image, and I can set it to a different width. I can, of course, align it. I can add a border. I can add shading, like a shadow to it. It has a lot of different features to it that make it really cool and powerful to use. So once I have it the way I want, I click save, and it saves that block with the changes that I want. Say I wanted to add some formatting to this text. To edit the block, I just click on it. And so say I wanted to emphasize some text, so let's bold this. Oops. And let's add some italics here, and we can add a heading in here too if we want. So I can select it, and then I can select a heading from here. Alright, now if you don't see some of these options, you can enable and disable what shows here by clicking on this icon. It's the toolbar icon, and it just gives some additional formatting options like symbols. You can clear formatting, you can paste text, you can change the color of the text, you can add a bar like this, and you can just do a variety of different things like tab. So see it tabbed out over. I can do it again and again. I can also remove it. I can add a list. So say I wanted to add a list in the middle of this, I can put in like one list item, list item, list item. So see it shows the numbers there, and I can just save. And so as you can see, these are just some of the basic blocks that you'll probably want to use. Now if you have a need for like some kind of columns, you can use this tab up here to go to rows, and see you can change the columns, the number of columns in that up here. So to use this, what you're going to do is just drag and drop it where you want it. So say I wanted to have this in 2 columns. Let's use this one. So I'm going to drag and drop it where I want it. Okay. Now this big text block, say I wanted to move this here, I just drag and drop it. And let's say I wanted to put something else there. Let's say let's go into modules and find something else. Let's just say I'll use a text editor here, and maybe I have some kind of quote. Okay, so then we have something, and then anonymous. We're going to take that out. Oh, well, it's going to keep doing that. But, alright. There. Alright. Now, I want to make this big, so we'll change the font size, add italics. Alright, so as you can see, now I have 2 columns. I've got this image here, I've got a heading here, and it's starting to look pretty good. Okay, so now if I want to save what I have, I can click on this done and publish. And now it's going to show what the page actually looks like. So all the changes that you make in the Beaver Builder editor are something you could see live on the site as you're building it. For the most part, what you see is what you get when you use that editor, and it's a really powerful tool. Now there's a lot of options that the Beaver Builder editor has that I am not covering in this little introductory video, but you'll be able to change and edit most things pretty easily using it. Now if you want to make a change to your website, and say you're on the WordPress Admin Dashboard, you can get to your website by just clicking on the link at the top. And if you want to change a particular page, go to that page, okay, and so say About Us. Alright, so say I wanted to change something on this page. To do so, since I have Beaver Builder enabled, I would click on this Beaver Builder button up here. I could click on this as well to change certain page features, like the featured image or something like that. But if I need to change the content of it and I have Beaver Builder enabled, that's where I'm going to do it. If Beaver Builder is not enabled, you're going to use this, which is just edit page. If I click on Beaver Builder, it's going to show the blocks in the 2-column setup that it has. And here's the heading, this is a text block, here's an image block, and here's another text block. Now, say I wanted to edit this and add some text or change something about it. So let's say one-stop. Okay, this is your one-stop resource for information. Okay, so then I want to add maybe some other text and say, "Hi, welcome to my website. Thanks for stopping by." Okay, and then once I make all the changes that I want, I click Save, and then I'm going to go to Done and Publish. Now, let's say I broke something or something's not displaying right and I want to undo what I just did. You can do so easily by going to Edit Page, and I'm going to show you. Alright, so now under Revisions, I can go here and click on Revisions. And you can see this is what was there before and this is what is there now. And I can go back to whatever revisions I want. So I can go back here to where it was before, and I can say Restore. And this will undo whatever changes I just did. So now if I go Update, and then it says Page Updated, View Page. If I click that, there's the page without the changes that I made. So it reversed it. So when you're editing your website and you feel like you've messed up, there's always a way to usually reverse those changes, typically speaking. So WordPress automatically will save revisions that you've made over time. So you can roll back to an older version if you ever need to.